Hey everyone, welcome back to the third installment of The Bachelor, but make it The Sims. Last week on the episode, we saw the rock climbing excursion, we saw Lena Gate, and we also saw Stephanie snitching on Lena about her difficult decision. And ultimately, we saw McKenna go home. But today we're starting out in the kitchen where Eve is making breakfast for the other ladies and herself to really try and show off that culinary skill. And naturally, because it's The Sims, nobody really wanted to eat all at the same time or next to each other, so it was really difficult to get a shot with all of them sitting down and eating at the same time. But they did seem to enjoy the food that Eve made, even though she got up in the middle of the meal to move seats, because I guess she just didn't want to sit across from Lena after what happened the week before. And then we actually see Lena get up as well because she does not want to continue on with this conversation sitting in her chair, apparently, which is fine. Lena can make her own choices, as she does. But like I said, just did not want to all sit down for a meal together, and that's completely fine. So although he did join them, Elliot did not eat, but rather came to share with the ladies that they would be going on one-on-one speed dates and that this would be a great way for him to get to know them better and really kind of see the compatibility that may or may not be there. So first up was Brianna, and Brianna was super excited to just get some alone time with Elliot because she really hadn't had a ton since she got there, but they definitely had an instant connection and really hit it off. And during their one-on-one talk, Brianna got a chance to really talk more about, you know, her romantic side and how she really loves people, and really kind of talk about some previous relationships that didn't end well and how she's kind of trying to avoid some of those same mistakes again. And looking at their relationship panel, I mean, they definitely are feeling that lovebird connection, a connection of curious hearts, and really feeling like this may shape up into a beautiful romance. And they, again, do have amazing compatibility. I mean, Elliot has amazing compatibility with everyone, but definitely with Brianna, so that was great. But peep this, in the middle of their conversation, Lena decides to walk up and start serenading Elliot as if he's not literally sitting here talking to Brianna. And if this isn't a catty move, I really don't know what is. I mean, she is literally one of the pettiest Sims I have ever created. So naturally, Brianna has to get up and leave before she just straight up swings at Lena. And as you can see, it's left them in a pretty uncomfortable position. I mean, Elliot's not saying anything. Lena's finished her song and did her job to get Brianna out of here, but it's just kind of a tense, like, uncomfortable situation, and Lena doesn't really have a great answer for why she did this other than, you know, to try to win him over. And then she starts singing again as if, you know, the first time wasn't enough. And Elliot's just kind of sitting there being polite but moderately uncomfortable with the whole thing. So I don't really know that that gained any points for Lena or not, but it was pretty entertaining to watch. And naturally, Brianna has to go and tell the other girls to really fire them up because they already hate Lena. And she's got to tell them, you know, what happened and how she totally ruined their speed date and just got in the way of her getting to know Elliot a little bit more and how frustrating that is. And the other ladies definitely shared that sentiment. So up next is Eve, and Eve really just got a chance to talk to Elliot a little bit more about kind of why she's so awkward and unconventional and a little bit avoidant at times, but really they've still had an amazing relationship start to blossom, and even has a close sentiment from feeling close to Eve and from good times and happy memories and things like that. So it was a really nice chance for them to kind of get to talk a little bit more about their connection. So right after Eve was Stephanie, and Stephanie really got a chance to hash out some things with Elliot and try to kind of make that connection a little bit closer. They did have the drifting love and hurt sentiment, so I think that Stephanie was probably feeling a little frustrated seeing Elliot flirt with other girls, but sorry babe, that's The Bachelor. So they did, I think, have a good talk and really kind of get that relationship bar a little bit up, and Stephanie was able to kind of talk about, you know, some of her interests and the things that she enjoys doing and her passion for art. And then Elliot started drinking, and I feel like after the last time he was not able to hold his liquor, I don't know if it was a great idea that he started drinking again in the middle of their conversation, but it is what it is. I guess he had to pregame before his talk with Cecilia. And pregame he did, because I mean, my boy, look at his face. Rough. So Cecilia sits down and they get a chance to talk because obviously they had things to hash out as well. Because even though they were feeling enamored with each other and even closer from happy memories, there was a drifting love sentiment there because Cecilia is also a jealous person as well. So they did need to talk a little bit about that because clearly she was not happy. And again, why was Elliot drinking right before this conversation? Not sure, but I don't think that it helped them at all. So later that evening, they threw a dance party, and naturally the very first thing that had to happen was that Brianna and Lena had a dance off. So Elliot was really feeling it, having a great time, and they're all watching Brianna just pop off. And I really don't know what to say about this other than that I can't believe they had to start off with a dance off like this. And I mean, Lena's not even doing anything. It takes her a while to do some moves. So Brianna's over here just eating and really trying to like live her best life, hits Lena in the face and calls it a night. And then of course Lena tries to show off doing a backflip and just totally face plants into the ground. And girl, I mean, nobody went over to see if she was okay after that, and she just kept dancing. And of course, it would not be a Sims dance party without choreographed dance moves because, I mean, they gotta show off. How did they learn this in this amount of time? No idea, but they did, and they really used this to try and impress Elliot. So I kind of used this as a little competition to see who was the best dancer out of the group because, you know, the better you can dance, the better wife you're gonna be someday. So Stephanie really tried to take that seriously and just show off all over the place. Unfortunately, he was busy with Lena shoving her tongue down his throat, so naturally Stephanie had to come over and just immediately plant one right on him to enact her revenge against Lena. Then Lena starts serenading him because of course this is her only defense against the other girls in the house. And let me tell you, this starts an all-out war between Stephanie and Lena because Stephanie's over here having a nice moment later on with Elliot, slow dancing, and naturally she needs to steal him away, presumably to talk, but rather than talk, she steals him for a slow dance as well. So the next day, they're all kind of just hanging out by the pool and talking about how this is kind of their last day before the next rose ceremony. And naturally, Cecilia's got to start day drinking again because the girl has a problem, okay? She needs help, but that is besides the point. They're all sitting around. Most of them are pretty tense at this point, really just had a rough time after seeing each other dance and compete for Elliot's attention the night before at the dance party. So they essentially all lounge around the pool for the rest of the day. I mean, like I said, they had a pretty rough time just competing with each other at the dance party, and so it's really important for them just to get some R&R before the next rose ceremony. And then here comes Cecilia wobbling in, stumbling around because she's been day drinking a little too much. So should she be swimming? Probably not, but you know what? It's The Sims. It's fine. So they have their pool fun, they chat, they gossip. Elliot mostly just floats around on his back and Lena swims laps to show off. And then it is time for tonight's rose ceremony. So between the one-on-ones and the dance party, they're all feeling different types of ways at tonight's rose ceremony, and Cecilia is feeling particularly intoxicated. And Elliot goes ahead and just talks about what a great time this has been before offering the first rose to none other than Brianna. Today was finally her chance to be number one and beat out Lena, who was not happy about being in second place this time. And then Elliot offers his rose to the dance queen, Miss Stephanie. Stephanie clearly had the moves, but not enough to get her in first place. And then it was between Cecilia and Eve. Ultimately, Eve won. Hot Dog Girl still lives. Unfortunately, this means that Cecilia has to go home, and honestly, I think this is for the best. I think it'll give Cecilia a little time to get the help that she desperately needs and stop being enabled by being on The Bachelor. So they say their goodbyes, and then Cecilia heads off. Of course, Lena, being petty, also has to be the only one to say goodbye, and Elliot finishes out the night with his typical toast. So that is it for this episode. Thanks again for watching, and if you have any suggestions for the next Let's Play I should do, please let me know in the comments below. See you all next time on The Bachelor, but make it The Sims.